Hey, beautiful people. It is January the 1st, 2015 at 12:13 in the afternoon. I'm back here in Ocean Springs in Inner Harbor, and I do my New Year's video. I want to show you the pelicans over there behind me, all the white pelicans. I was thinking as I was walking down here and remembering how special this particular place is to me, and how right over there where those white pelicans are, back in the years past, I I learned a lot about the Matrix right here. Oh, here's the story too. You see that white egret that just landed over there? He's on the other side of all the white pelicans in the water. Anyway, that is a place where you can come clean your fish when you go fishing out here. And it was some place where I started years ago questioning what the Matrix had taught was reality. And I'd been taught for years and years and years that animals have no consciousness. They don't think, perceive. Anyway, Happy New Year, guys. This is going to be a year of magic. But I was taught as I was growing up that animals have no real consciousness and they don't think or perceive. And here is one of those places where I got a big realization as I was observing nature, how we'd been taught in the Matrix that things were a certain way, but they weren't. And this relates to the year of Majic, 2015, and what we're going through. But I used to cast my net for mullet. Sometime I'd, end up with 100 fish, and I used to clean them right there where all the pelicans are sitting. And these are the beautiful white pelicans that migrate too. I don't know if, yeah, I guess you can possibly see them over there. Right there. Yeah, you can see them, those lighthouses there. North the pylons. Anyway, I'd be over there cleaning my fish, and as I was taking the remains of the fish and washing them out and throwing the parts that I didn't want over into the harbor here, the catfish would come up. There'd just be hundreds and hundreds of catfish everywhere, all going after those mullet parts or whatever fish I was catching. And we had this big gator that lived here in the harbor at that time. It's been since removed because he exceeded 10 feet. Once they get so big, it becomes a problem for people. And they don't want to kill them, so they'll capture them and move them, hopefully, rather than killing them. And anyway, when the catfish would disappear, you always knew the gator was coming in. And the gator was kind of like my buddy. He'd show up all the time, usually when I was out here cleaning fish, unless he was full from some other fishermen's cleaning their catch here. And that gator, he'd get his fill of all the fish heads and the carcasses and guts and whatever else I was cleaning. And then after a while, he'd start taking those same pieces, the heads and the skins and whatever I was putting in the water. And where that egret just landed over there, he about 2 or 3 feet off into the water from the side of the grasslands, from the side of the marsh, right where the egrets and blue herons would come in and fish from, that alligator would take the carcasses and he'd build a little pile of them. And so here's the grasslands where the egret would land and be standing in the water next to it. And then he'd build the pile of the fish carcasses there, and then he'd slide off back into the muddy water and wait till a heron or egret came in and landed and started finding and eating those carcasses, and then he'd come up and he'd catch the bird. That took a lot of reasoning for an alligator reptilian survival instinct to come up with, to bait birds, to catch, to take the carcasses of the fishman's catch and to put them on the side of the bay to bait and catch a bird. He wanted something different to eat or wanted to be able to go fishing himself or go birding. We go fishing for fish, they take the fish and go birding. Anyway, I learned a lot right here in this harbor about the reality and nature of the lower physical world, and I started questioning a lot of what reality is and what we had been taught. And I realized that everything is consciousness. I started realizing, as I was observing minnows or even plants, you hear about how plants are affected by sound, how everything is consciousness. And everything is an experience, a life experience of the higher self that descends into matter and puts a fragment of that self into whatever life form it is, whether it can be a tree or a leaf on the tree or the bugs on the leaf of the tree or the birds that fly into the tree that eat the bugs off the tree. It's all higher levels of consciousness that wishes to experience material life. In breaking through the matrix, the ascension process, that is, oh man, there's more egrets flying in. I know I won't be able to show you on this camera, but egrets are flying into the trees over here. And around the corner at the bridge that is from the Ocean Springs Harbor into the inner harbor, there's a tree right there where all the egrets come in the evenings, or egrets around here come in the evenings. And we always called them the Christmas birds. That's the Christmas tree, because there'd be hundreds of birds that were like little Christmas balls in the tree over there. And so that's neat seeing them here. It's neat being back in Ocean Springs and to feel the changes and to look back at my experience getting to this point, and also see the physical manifestations of the ascension process literally unfolding. My family home, which was wiped out in Hurricane Katrina, finally being reconstructed now at this end of 2014 back into 2015, and the process of construction, other than trimming it out, just like our process of ascension, other than trimming out the higher levels of self that we are, is all unfolding. And how literally there's always, in my experience, a physical representation of the spiritual experience that I'm experiencing manifesting into the physical reality here, and how it's such a reflection of that spiritual experience, even to the point of me being in the heart of Turtle Island at my family farm in Memphis, and being in that area, which is actually the heart of Turtle Island, and how, as I look at my own parents, my father died years ago, 16 years ago, of heart complications. He had to have a 5-point bypass and didn't make it through. My intuition told him, I told him before he had the operation, don't go there, you're going to have problems. And he was a physical representation of the energies in that area. Many persons have heard me describing Turtle Island and in the stomach of Turtle Island really is the Gulf of Mexico, and the Deepwater Horizon was like an ulcer within that body of water, the stomach, the Gulf of Mexico, and how my own mother has got an ulcer as a physical representation of that. How I teach heart chakra activation, and here I am going back to the heart of Turtle Island where my father was, and transmuting the energies in that area. How wild. There's always fractals, and especially as you're open to your energetic being and your spiritual ascension, and you see how everything is reflected on the exterior of you that you're experiencing on the interior. But not all of it is a direct reflection of your own personal experience or of our own personal experience. A lot of times, I mean, you got to consider there's 7 billion other universes walking around in the human collective, each having its own experience and own version of its universe, and no two can be the same. Even if you're a lover, even if you're a mother or a brother, you can't see through the same eyes. Even if you were with me and behind me trying to look at the same thing, you're seeing what you see out there is going to be different from me. And that's with all consciousness. And what ended up shifting December 21st, 2014, with this winter solstice, to me, it felt like there was a great big, one of the pelicans over there got a fish, and you could see him toss it up and then going down his gullet. It seemed to me that what I'm witnessing in the exterior, and many of us have already been at these levels for years, but we have to hold those energies and those dreams to bring it into manifestation. That's what gatekeepers, earth keepers, and way showers do. That's what the first wave of ascension was all about, is those of us holding the dreams and holding the vision and holding the energies so we can shift it. But it all doesn't shift in an instant. We are doing it collectively and grounding the energies in the dream into Mother Earth so that it does shift in the matrix that we witness out there. That doesn't mean that this is not real. It's very real. But on the other hand, the atoms which are within this, the protons and electrons, which are the atoms, are so far apart. It's like the distance between the stars and the sky, that we should just pass right through it. But because of our collective reality, our collective agreement that this is solid matter, that the polarization between those protons, neutrons, and electrons really creates a force field that we cannot pass through. It takes a collective of us to come through and to shift the matrix, the consciousness of humanity, the belief systems, so that we change the rules of the game. And that's what the ascension process, the closing of the Piscean age and going into the Aquarian age, is all about. Those of us that came in that are considered the first wave, we are the ones that held a different dream, a vision, a understanding, a level of understanding, so that we can infuse that into the collective and bring about these shifts, especially as the planetary frequencies were increasing, not only because of the ceremonies that we were doing, not only because of the age that we're shifting into out of the Piscean age going into the Aquarian age, not only because of that and us coming up to the galactic center and coming out of the darkness and into the photon as we do this band and dance all the way around this galaxy. It's how reality is changed is by the thoughts and emotions of the individuals that come here as the way showers to shift, to change matter, to bring energy into form. And during the winter solstice, what I witnessed around Memphis, even though I had been holding the vibrations for years, seemed to have been the human collective's acceptance of the uniqueness and the sacredness and the divinity of others out there. realizing, yes, there's only one of us here, and they might not realize this, but yes, there's only one being in the overall existence, but having multiple experiences, whether you are that tree, the leaf on the tree, the bugs on the leaf of that tree, or the birds that are eating the bugs on the leaf of that tree. That does not mean that the survival mode that we're in right now, and this is not survival mode per se, but in 3D we have to eat things and feed ourselves, and that's just part of the rules and regulations at this point. Because sooner or later we're going to realize that all we truly need is that energy or prana or life force that we gain as we expand our light and go through our ascension process. Now that brings me to another something that I'm witnessing in these past days. And I've said this before, each time I step up, it's like, how much light and frequency can a physical vessel hold until you go boom and blow up in a billion different colors? And I'm at that point again. And it makes me realize now 2015 is going to be the year of magic. And I don't care whether you're in that first wave or the second wave. If you're in the first wave and you've been going through your process for a long time, and we've spent so much time changing our belief systems, and with that change of belief systems and in identification with ourselves being the energetic beings that we truly are, as we are holding more light, we come to levels where we shift into another higher dimensional frequency, still holding the previous levels of self, just like your difference between your dimensional self of being your light being, your angelic, your archangelic, or Metatronic, prime creator. That's all various dimensional levels of self. Many persons get hung up with past lives, feeling that temporal self is something to identify with, and that's fine for your skill set, that's fine for your memories, that's fine for the understanding of the lessons, which allows you to go expand into those higher dimensional levels of self. But those higher dimensional levels of self are really who you are on the next dimensional layers, and they are directly related to the chakra systems. We used to get in there by going through the chakras until you activate and anchor those chakras, and then you're actually a living embodiment of whatever level of higher self attunes to that chakra that you have activated and anchored and actualized, and then you become a living embodiment of that level of higher self here in the material world. You're actually channeling the encodings from that dimension as you're grounding out into the ground and outward to humanity. You're radiating that out, and as you go through all your chakras, activating, anchoring, and actualizing that, you're just radiating out more of the levels of your higher self. More of that is embodied into the physical vessel, and you're living through that vibrational level, that level of light and frequency, while being in the physical form. And that's how we shift the planet. Oh man, Pelican's walking on water. Here he comes. God, I so wish I could do that. There's another one. Oh, bunches of them. Oh, here they're all taking off one by one. This is our new Ocean Springs Inner Harbor Airport. I so wish I want to do that. Of course, we can put ourselves astrally and see through the eyes of other animals and birds and fly along with them, but I literally want to be there physically. It's time we take this game, the rules that make up this game, and we take it to another level. I know it might be years down the road, but it's going to happen. It's going to happen. 2015 is going to be the year that the second wave wakes up. They switch out of their geopolitical awakening, starting to realize that the Matrix might not be exactly what we were taught it was. And they start waking up spiritually and recognizing themselves as energetic beings. The animation, that God spark, the flame that animates this physical vessel. Many of them are going to start waking up and identifying with that and going through their process of ascension and changing their belief systems and expanding their levels of light and frequency and going through their ascension process. And the more that humanity and the collective does this, the more the game is going to change. Now, there's going to be a lot of persons in, I say 2015 is going to be a year of magic. A lot of people don't understand that everybody is magical. What have we got? Oh, it's a loon. He went under, and I was like, well, what was that was making those waves? That's so cool to see all the loons. We're just out there making waves. Sometimes we duck in and experience the material world, or more liquid vibrational world of water, which we all are. And sometimes we're playing in the ethers, our head in the clouds, and playing in those upper levels, the energetic world. The trick is to bring them together, right there at the heart. You know, you've got your spiritual chakras, those which create the divine thought, the vision, the light that we see, what we perceive, how the rays come together to be slowed into that which we see, which is physical form. As we're invoking our experience. I love to hear their wings as they go by, swish, swish, swish. We invoke it by speech. Ninth dimension, divine thought. Eighth dimension, the light. Seventh dimension, sound. Sixth dimension, the feeling, the emotion. Always changing. Sixth dimension's always in a state of change. The power center, fifth dimension, that which connects us to the field that our manifestations are brought into. Our connection to all other consciousness is through the sacral chakra, it's more 4D, and everything, I don't care what it is connected through that sacral chakra. That's what sex is all about. Sex is creation. Everything is created through that fourth dimensional sacral area. Everything that we do as humans is. And in the grounding is through that root chakra. Without being connected to ground, your manifestations might not come back to you readily as you would like. But when you understand those levels of the energies and how to put it out there, you can bring energy into form much more readily. And that's what magic is about. Magic is about the moving of energies and it's shifting into form. How you gather energies and put it into form. Many magicians using smoke and mirrors are illusionists, but that does not mean that this reality is not illusion also. Yes, it's real. Yes, this is hard. Yes, it is an experience. But this is nothing more than energy that's been slowed into matter in something that we agree on as this is wood and it has certain properties. And everybody around here agrees it's wood, so we see it, make it, create it, and have the experience of it. Eventually, we'll shift into levels of sound and levels of light as we go back through our ascension process. We won't be dealing so much with the levels of matter, and that is also part of what we're going to witness here in 2015 is the magic of those persons who are not holding the highest vibrations having their creations, their manifestations play out in ways which they're creating, and it's magic. We're all doing it. There's nothing, no consciousness that is not creating magic. Otherwise, magic is just life. Our higher levels of energetic selves, which we call the higher dimensional us, just wants to experience this life. And so it slows its vibration into form, and it wants to have an experience. And that experience is nothing more than a dream. The dream, that divine thought, and the vision of that divine thought that is slowed into the physical form. The one thing that humans have, and I'm not saying other animals don't have it, because birds sing a song, and bird songs helps to put the sound out there and beauty out there of all life forms. Well, hello. We've got a little visitor that just decided to come in right behind me and just land in the water. And we're all creating magic no matter what life form we take. The thing about humans is we have this ability to realize the matrix and to consciously transform energy into matter more readily than some of our other friends that are sharing space here with us in our experience too, just like these pelicans. Oh, so were you just, you were walking on water and heading back to find you a big pylon to hang out on. That's pretty cool. So 2015, we'll probably see a whole lot of persons because of the planetary and cosmic frequencies increasing, creating their magic, which may not be exactly what they wish. And the first waivers of us, we are stepping out and into new levels. We're not here to keep on doing this clearing for the planet and the motions. We're the embedded emotions into this planet. That's what we did in 2014, is help transmute them. We've been doing that for a long time, really. We were doing it from middle 2014 for our families and the collective in our certain areas, for the history, for the DNA of our physical vessel, for the auric fields that we're walking around in. And we're cleaning up our levels to a point now to where things are manifesting very, very rapidly. Almost instantly, in a lot of my experience, all I have to do is really need something to have that need and see what it is I need, and to speak it forth, to invoke it and feel why I need it, and it's there. And that's just happening quicker and quicker and quicker, faster and faster and faster. The more light that's within my field, the more frequencies I hold, the more readily that manifestation comes into experience. And that is magic. That's what magic is all about. Sooner or later, when the collective, the whole of the human population, has gone through their ascension process, or is in the process of going through their ascension process, because ascension is constantly ongoing. I mean, that video I did with Malene Lafont back in August or September of 2013, where I was taking my Metatron Universal Initiations, and you could see the encodings streaming down in my field in the video, and you could see how my light affected the light of the couch and the surroundings behind me, and you could see the Universal Merkaba as it's getting assimilated into my field. As the human collective goes through that same process, then we cannot live in this level of rules that we have for this physical reality. We'll shift it because we know we're creating the magic then. We know we're doing it then. And the whole collective waking up and going through their ascension process and knowing that, when we all know that, then we're going to very rapidly, if not instantly, shift into a new earth in a different way than this lower vibration has manifested so far. We will collectively have a unified focused thought. Oh, it's so cool to watch the birds land on the water. That was a loon just landing in, and how magical. Even these lower material dimensions is so magical. It really is. And when you see it as that, when you shift the way that you perceive things, then you recognize just how magical it is. And when you go through your mastery process, you realize that you've got a lot of control of how that magic manifests, even though everything out there, whether it's a blade of grass, whether it's the actual water that's the Gulf of Mexico, or water any place, or a bird like these pelicans, even though that's having its own consciousness, we can have a magical experience together. And he's taking a bath over there, slapping his wings down on the water. That's just so cool. They're just having a blast. I think all the birds, all the animals, all of the environment is already in a higher dimensional vibration and experiencing this shift. It's waiting on the human collective to wake up and go through theirs. Everybody, everything is holding the energies, waiting on the human collective to wake up. And a lot of the human collective has. As I look back from 2009, when we really began this process of ascension, when the first wave ignited, and that's not saying we were the beginners. There were a lot of persons that had been on planet going through their ascension process in previous incarnations that came back to go through that process even before 2009. 2009 was just a time when 8,000 of us planet-wide shifted our consciousness from our duality, polarity of our brain, out of the duality into the oneness of our heart. We started activating our heart chakra and expanding into unfolding and expanding through our ascension process, because that's really what it is. There's people around here always wave at each other, and there's somebody who's just riding his bike across the bridge and waving at me while I'm sitting here talking out loud to nobody. I'm sure they really wonder, what's that guy doing? Too funny. Well, this town's known for having eccentric and crazy people. That's this is the home of the Andersons. In fact, the Anderson compounds at the other end of this harbor right here, and in persons who know the history of Walter Anderson and how he perceived things and how his art was, also knew him to be someone who didn't feel comfortable with the human collective, like many of us who were gatekeepers and way showers in the first wave of ascension. There's been many persons that have come here before that saw things in a different way and held a vision and a dream of things being in a different way. And those persons who were the forerunners, they weren't. Many times we were looked down at by those in the human collective that were in society, and because we saw outside of the box, outside of the matrix, and those persons in society were caught up in the matrix, we were labeled as being crazy. And if you could get your craziness out in your artwork, that was one thing, but other people went out and spoke openly and were persecuted for their beliefs and trying to change things in a hands-on way, trying to discuss how the matrix really works. And it's really, that time's over. That whole time that we went through to get to this point of ascension, spiritual ascension of this planet, that's over. It's even over with the, people are still hung up about the Illuminati, about the gray teas, or those who created us, and the Anunnaki. And truthfully, if you really understand what that is all about, it's to get the human collective into their spiritual ascension process. It took these things that a lot of us, when we were in polarity in our left brain, right brain, we're perceiving as good and bad, and us and them in separation, in light and dark, in heaven and hell, and in right and wrong. And they're not recognizing that, this is a planned event, that humanity and Mother Earth goes through this ascension process. We chose to experience that separation and duality and play the game, and the Anunnaki and the Gray ETs and the Illuminati are just holding and have held that opposite vibration and polarity to the game. And as you go through your ascension process, just like, my messages at 9/9/2009, when Archangel Michael said, come out, you speak openly, speak publicly. You've got to get that first wave, 8,000 people around this planet going out of their head and into their heart, going into their ascension process, expanding their light. What I was told was to quit the fight, to quit the spiritual warrior that I was before them, quit astrally projecting my energies on the Illuminati, which you always have that opposite polarity to fight, to slap around. They slap us, we slap them. They slap us, we slap them. Well, when you lay down your sword, when you quit the fight, anybody that is still remaining in that polarity as the other steps out is only shadow boxing. And that's part of what we have to go through when we step into our ascension process, is we're bringing that polarity back into center, because we've both been light and dark. The Illuminati thinks that they're the light ones and they've got to control the game, just as the light workers thought that they had to control of the game. The Illuminati luminary. That has been the game of duality since the fall of Atlantis. And ascension is bringing that back to center. And also bringing the upper chakras, the spiritual, the non-material part of our experience, and bringing that into the material part of our experience, bringing it right there, heaven's forces and earth's forces balanced at the heart. And ascension is really the understanding and the living and the processing, the experiencing of, hey, beautiful you, that's just so cool. Oh, you want that pollen? He was flying into this pollen and says, no, I want that one. Oh man, ascension is just the understanding that we're all just energy in living through all the layers, because there's multiple frequency layers, multiple bandwidths, higher dimensions of those frequencies that we really are. and in allowing all those multiple layers to experience here. And in so doing, we really have to allow our egoic self to step aside, our identification with who we are as our personality and our thoughts of what reality is within the matrix. We have to step outside of that ego and matrix, and in order to allow our higher levels of self, higher bandwidths, higher selves to live through physical form. 2015 is going to show a lot of people waking up to those facts. I don't know how many more videos I'm going to continue doing like this, because I've said everything I really have to say about Ascension, unless I'm backing off as an observer and saying this is what I'm witnessing out there. I can't really tell you any more about the Ascension process than I already have in these 200 plus videos that I've done. So if I do any more videos, it's going to be more as an observer, or even as the hands-on maker of form at Turtle Island, as we're building this research and development center for aquaponics and permaculture, for alternative energy, for cob structures or off-grid structures and off-grid living and building. And that might be where my future videos goes. And I don't know, and just like I said in my last video, a lot of times I'll make one and it's relevant to me at that point in time, but I'm not able to upload it. And by not uploading it, if I view it and see if it's still relevant at a future time when I can upload it, many times it doesn't seem relevant to me, and so I don't upload it. So I don't know if I'm going to continue getting a lot of videos out there or not. We'll just have to wait and see. But I'm going to have fun with Majic. That's what it's all about. A lot of us are really getting into the magic. And see, that's the one thing about creation on this material physical level, is when you come to the points to where you want to be much more so creative, or you've got a problem that you have to solve, you have to invent something or do something in a different way or have a different understanding and comprehension of it. It's that attunement to your various higher levels of self, those various frequencies, that if you allow the ego to step out of the way and you can clear your brain and be in your heart, then what happens is you put out to the field that which you need, and that understanding starts coming through. I used to, when I was still heavily in my head, used to say that I had to move up to my Melchizedek chakra out of my body, and I would broadcast from that point, and that's how I would receive it, and that was a truth then. And then as I went through the ascension process and I went out of the vertical alignment in 5D that connects you in a linear way with those higher levels of self, you go spherical into 6D, and you, like layers on an onion or nacre on a pearl. In a pearl, I prefer the pearl. I prefer the pearl analogy. Like nacre on a pearl, there's just various layers to your higher self that you're connecting with, where when you put out that need that you have to have a response from, then whatever level can send you that answer, that's where it's coming in from. And that's how technology is built. That's how we're all, but we're doing it now as masters, being heart oriented rather than being head and duality and plurality oriented. And so until the human collective wakes up and we shift the rules of the game and how we look at polarity and what makes our agreements, makes things solid, or sets the rules to what we experience as humans in material form, until the collective of humanity wakes up and begins ascending all their other universes, then we're going to still have to create form with our hands. And so 2015 is, for me, going to be just that. and that's going to be really cool. I used to be very big into machining and tool and die making and mechanicking and construction and fishing and gardening and all these other different things. And a lot of my mechanical um, sides to me, that which was doing machining or mechanicking or construction, all that I put aside as I was doing my gatekeeper work so that I could leave and become a pure channel and bring in the encodings like you see in that Metatronic video with Malene LaFont from September 2013, where you see those encodings coming down. A gatekeeper downloads those encodings and grounds them into Earth and sends them out. Earthkeeper gathers together with others doing ceremony and anchors the energy and creates portals and opens gateways. And then way showers, they can be right in the middle of the collective, right in the middle of the cities, and they're just holding higher vibrations and energies for the collective and showing the collective what all is possible and what potentials are. And for me, I was in my gatekeeper role these past years, and like many other gatekeepers, become we had to make ourselves alone, so and usually in solitude, so that we could hold a pure vibration as we were downloading those encodings, which are for building blocks of New Earth into Mother Earth and send them out to the collective. I see my role is shifting this next year in actually doing a lot of the hands-on, a lot of the going back into the building and construction, to the building of the physical, and we'll probably be in that mode um, until more of the collective of humanity wakes up and goes through their ascension process. How long that's going to take, who knows? I hope it's quick. But if it's not, I mean, those of us that are going through our process, we're changing our physical vessels. We're changing our form. We're not aging. We're healing. As we raise our frequencies and change our belief structure, our belief systems, we are healing these physical vessels, and these physical vessels are becoming much more durable, much more tolerant, much more. They're I feel like I'm 21, and I hold that vision of being 21. Every 7 years, our body's going to change because of the vision and the belief system that we hold. And so, and it's going to take the second wave their 5 to 7 years to go through their transition too, their ascension process too, changing their belief system and clearing up their auric fields, their chakras, their life, and deciding what is real in their belief systems. And it's all part of the process. Second wave is just now igniting, and that's what I've witnessed at the end of 2014. A lot of people thought that they were awake and aware and going through their spiritual process when they were really just waking up to the geopolitical process. The spiritual process is about the embodiment in recognizing themselves, embodiment of higher levels of self, and identifying more with their being, the energy that animates the physical form, rather than the ego, which has got to control and manipulate everything. A lot of second waves just getting ready to go through it. I'm seeing it in my family. I'm seeing it, and so many people around, and a lot of persons had thought that they were already going through their ascension process when they were really going through their geopolitical process. It's not a this or that, and I certainly wouldn't want to point fingers, but if you're still in that duality brain game and you're thinking that there's a fight of light and dark, of good and evil out there, then you're still in that geopolitical awakening, and you might be already going through the ascension process. You can be in your heart and still have those issues. Believe me, I'm one of them. You can have all kinds of issues and be going through your process. I was listening to a Muji video that he just released, and he's saying, you know, even as a master, he still gets angry and frustrated sometimes. It's just that he recognizes it, knows that it's part of the brain game, and he knows how to shut it down and turn it off and remove himself from the ego back to the energetic side that he really is. This is just understanding about consciousness and about how consciousness animates this physical vessel. That's what mastery is all about. There's many walking, talking ascended masters here on planet that are in physical form. And, you know, we're here teaching what it's like to be energy in physical form. We still have crap happen in our lives that might not be what we would like to experience, because there's 7 billion walking, talking universes all side by side with us, stepping into our fields, having creations that overlay into ours. You have us, you have ourselves, me, and any other consciousness out there, and as that consciousness overlays, you have the Vesica Piscis, which is the experience. I cannot stop another's experience from coming into my field. I can control that which I experience by that vibration which I choose to entertain, by the magic which I put out to the field. That I can control. But to say that somebody doesn't, you know, have a wreck, boom, hit a tree right here, and I feel that as a negative experience, and man, their bumper hit my truck or whatever. Better watch what I say, because I could be very easily manifesting something here. No wrecks, no wrecks. But for another's experience to affect mine, yeah, it does. For us to feel another's experience, the more we expand our frequency, the greater our auric field grows, and the more we feel what's out there in other people's experience. The more multi-universal we become, because everybody else out there is walking around in their own universe, and our universe, auric field, is overlaying theirs. So we pick up on what's going on there, although we are mastering our personal experience. You see? I am getting ready to lose battery here. It says I've got 18% remaining. So anyway, I guess I better start winding it up. Yep. And it's 52 minutes into this video. 2015 is, I'm declaring, is the year of magic. And I don't care whether you're well into your mastery process or you're still in that light dark battle, because persons in that light dark battle, they're still masters. It's just unawakened masters, and they are creating their experience. Whether it's light, dark, good, bad, heaven, hell, we're all creating it. And having darker experiences isn't always bad. Sometimes it shows us where we need our own work, but how we call it in, I choose the mastery path. I choose very consciously having an easy experience now of how I call it in. I've been through the other. I know what it's like when I hold lower vibrations and when I'm not trying to be the best that I can be. If I don't want to be so good, then what happens is my experience is not so good. And I like my experience to be very magical. I like the Merlin Gandalf side of me. I like the Christed self. I like that, beautiful osprey going around. He's looking like he's getting ready to go fishing. And maybe I'll go fishing too. I like having magic happen within my life, and I like the experience of that magic. It's the most beautiful thing. And we all choose what we wish to experience. That's in 18 minutes, otherwise I'm going to lose video, and I'm going to shut it down here and now because I've done that before. When this video goes out, that's the end of it, and I don't get it back. So anyway, love y'all. Happy New Year. Welcome to the great year of magic. We're here. Happy 2015. Bye for now.